What if I told you that the towering figure of the early 19th century, Napoleon Bonaparte, once cast an influential shadow over the fate of Portugal? Yes, the same Napoleon, whose strategic genius and military prowess reshaped the contours of Europe, also left an indelible mark on this southwesternmost corner of the continent. But how exactly did this happen? Let's travel back in time to the turn of the 19th century, a time when Napoleon was at the height of his power. As he cast his gaze towards the Iberian Peninsula, Portugal's fate began to take a dramatic turn. The first ripple of this impact was felt when Napoleon, in an attempt to enforce his continental system, invaded Portugal in November 1807. Commanded by General Junot, this invasion resulted in the Portuguese royal family fleeing to their colony in Brazil, a move that would have far-reaching implications. However, the Iberian Peninsula was far from conquered. Spain, a historical rival of Portugal, found itself in an unlikely alliance with the Portuguese and their long-standing ally, Britain. This unlikely triad stood in opposition to the might of Napoleon's France. In the face of this resistance, Napoleon launched a second invasion in March 1809, this time under the command of General Soult. This invasion, like the first, was met with fierce resistance, and the tide began to turn against the French. Undeterred, Napoleon launched a third invasion in June 1810, led by Marshal Massena. Yet this invasion too was met with stiff opposition from the Portuguese, who were now bolstered by British support and the strategic brilliance of General Wellington. These invasions, however, were more than just military campaigns. They served as a crucible in which the Portuguese spirit was tested and hardened. Backed into a corner, the Portuguese people, from farmers to nobles, rallied behind their British allies and rose to the challenge. The result of this war was a turning point in the histories of all the nations involved. The Portuguese farmers, trained by the English, had repelled 3 of Napoleon's invasions, a feat that echoed throughout Europe. For Portugal, the war marked a period of significant change. The royal family's flight to Brazil triggered a series of events that would eventually lead to the independence of Brazil. Meanwhile, the shared struggle against a common enemy strengthened the bond between Portugal and Britain, setting the stage for their continued alliance in the years to come. Spain, too, was deeply impacted by the war. The Peninsular War, as it was known, became a catalyst for a wave of Spanish nationalism and a precursor to the Spanish independence movement. For Britain, the war represented a major victory against Napoleon, bolstering its position on the world stage. As for France, the unsuccessful invasions marked the beginning of the end for Napoleon's dominance in Europe. So it's clear that Napoleon's influence on Portugal was profound and far-reaching. His attempts to conquer the Iberian Peninsula set in motion a series of events that would reshape not just Portugal, but the entire region. And in the end, it was the resilience and determination of the Portuguese people that emerged as the defining factor in this fascinating chapter of history.